Hello, friends. David Vos here. Oh, I found a little spot here in the woods. I thought I'd just sit here for a little bit and do a video. A little pond back in here in the woods. Um, can't wait till the leaves start coming back on the trees. But there's a certain beauty in the world when the trees go away. And these little oaks around here, they're kind of twisted and it's kind of weird. But yeah, yesterday when I did that video, it was really weird how I started that video off saying, well, hey, you guys, I know you guys are going to want to watch this. You're going to get bored and, but please watch this. And, well, I digressed a little too much and I got a lot of flack. And I noticed that a lot of people, maybe it's not a lot of people, maybe, out of the 1,000 people that watches the video, I guess if there's 2 people that are angry enough, they're going to write how angry they are about how I don't get to the point. And of course, I'm doing that again now. But I don't think people understand that this is not a channel or a place that you're going to go and get a quick jolly, right? Oh, let's watch a 5-minute video and laugh our heads off. It's going to be entertaining, or a cat's going to do a backflip, or we're going to get some quick entertainment. That's not what this is about. This is a very philosophical, scientific, spiritual, esoteric wisdom channel. You're not going to get any quick fixes. I can't possibly explain the universe as I am explaining it, the perspective that I'm trying to give. I can't do it in one moment or even in 5 minutes or even 10 minutes. It usually takes at least an hour to get to a point because you got to build. And if you're going to talk about something as amazing as truth, you need foundational facts. So you may need to cover a few preliminary things. I find that, well, first of all, as I said, if I do a video pretty much every day and it's an hour long, and this is an hour long program. And, I don't sit down, I don't have a crew or a staff. I don't have a studio in Hollywood, and I don't have any staff like perhaps Rush Limbaugh or somebody's got a staff. And they go and they track down all the latest news, print it out, put it on his desk. Perhaps he's got some notes. Now, I'm not saying Rush Limbaugh and Sean Hannity and Tucker Carlson don't do their research. I noticed Tucker Carlson reads pretty much for the first, I don't know, what is it, 20 minutes or 10 minutes? He reads from a script. And, you get caught up in it and you believe that the person's speaking like, well, Tucker Carlson's so smart. Listen to what he's saying. Well, he is reading a script. I don't know if he does his own writing, if he's controlling the content. I don't know. And I wouldn't disparage him in any way. I love the man. Brilliant. And I'm sure if he was getting notes or scripts that weren't according to his beliefs, he'd say no. I mean, we don't know. Perhaps it's all scripted and he doesn't know what he's saying. Perhaps he doesn't have any thoughts of his own. I think he does. I think Sean Hannity does, probably. Although, let's face it, everybody that's popular, that's on Fox News or CNN or anywhere else, even, yes, Fox News, friends, have no doubt that they are representing their constituents. They're selling a product. I am not selling anything. You might see commercials on here that sell something, but I have no control over that. I accept the advertising because, friends, it takes me all day to do these things. I don't have a staff. I don't even go out and research because I wouldn't have the time. I don't have any notes. I don't sit down for 2 or 3 hours and research a bunch of stuff. I just sit down every day after praying most of the night. I do a lot of meditating and thinking and praying. I'll have a thought. Sometimes I'll look it up. Like, oh, I think it's 47 billion miles to the planet Ascrabian. And I think I want to check that out to make sure I get the figures correct. It's something I'm interested in, and I'll check it out. And I'm like, yeah, it's so many miles to this planet. But that's it. Then I go away. If I don't remember it, I don't remember it. And you guys always hear me saying, I don't remember right now, but I think it's, this and such, or I don't remember this guy's name because I don't have a script. But I accept the advertising, the money that I get from the advertising, which is very low. I'm making, I get about $300 a month. Certainly not enough to live on. But at the moment, that's all I have. I mean, I used to make more than that. Used to have videos that got millions of clicks. And I see people that are doing videos perhaps a little bit like me, or maybe it's similar, or they've got some ideas that are philosophical or whatever. And they've got many more subscribers than I do. And many more hits and clicks. And I have to wonder. And in fact, I know YouTube has shut me down 3 times. And they are not monetizing my videos. A lot of them. A lot of them are. But each one, pretty much all of the videos, they'll take the monetization off, and then I have to go and dispute it. And recently, they sent me a warning, and they say that they're not going to do anything this time, but I am in violation of their hate speech. And I'm like, I wrote back and I'm like, what do you mean hate speech? All I teach is about Jesus, and love your enemies, and love those that hate you and that cruelly torture you, and just turn the other cheek. And my whole thrust is not hate speech at all. Oh, you're angry because I'm exposing the devil? I'm sorry, but I what do you want me to do? I mean, this is my, this is my rights. I have the rights to speak and expose what I think is bad. But anyway, it's a constant struggle. And so at the present moment, for the last several months, I haven't been making hardly anything at all. I mean, it was just a few months ago that they had shut me down for about 7 months straight. I didn't make anything. I ended up going bankrupt, lost my house, and which was good, because everything works for good for those who love God. And most of us do love God. And for those of us who have faith and look at the good side of everything, I followed the flow, and I realized that there was a reason that this was happening, and I needed to lighten my load a little bit. I didn't need to pay a mortgage of $600 a month. So I said, you know what, good riddance. I'm going to get me some property in the mountains and do what I have done before, but this time, that's where I'm going to stay. I'm just going to build a little cabin in the woods. And so I appreciate the situation I'm in, and I'm not complaining at all. But I'm trying to explain to you, friends, that I accept a little of the advertising money just because I don't have any. If I actually went out and got a job doing something else, most of these jobs I wouldn't be able to do. I don't have, my conscience would bother me if I tried to be a lawyer or a doctor. I wouldn't do that. I couldn't do that. I'm not going to go be a military, personnel. I'm not going to join the army. I'm not going to, there's very few things that I could do that my conscience would allow me to do. For years I was a cook. I felt that it couldn't be too bad wrong with that. Just cooking food. And it wasn't anything, it was just ordinary food. So I was a cook for years. I mean, I don't feel labor jobs are good, and there's nothing wrong with them, but I was always had a problem with being a 9 to 5 slave. The one thing I liked about cooking was I could get a job, make a little bit of money, and take my paycheck and go, and then go explore another mountain. Right? I have enough money for some gas and some camping equipment, and I'd go into the mountains and I explore a certain area and live off the land for a few months. And then if I needed more money, I could go back and get a job as a dishwasher or cook or some other thing like that. I was a janitor a couple of times and make a little bit of money and then move on down the road. Spend a lot of time. I wanted to spend as much time. I wanted to, and I still do. I want to spend as much time in nature and among the flowers and the trees, meditating on the purpose of life, and that's what suited me. So that's what I did. Well, so now, if I did go out and get a full-time job or any kind of work, and I had to work most every day, I wouldn't be able to do videos because it literally takes me an hour to speak the video, and then I have to listen to it. That's another hour to make sure that there's no burps or boogers in my nose or problems or anything like that, and make sure that I'm not, something's not wrong and I listen to it, and then it takes me about an hour to load it to a particular platform or an app that I have to, because my phone will only load for 38 minutes and then it cuts off and it makes it starts a new video. So I have to put them together in a different app, paste them together to get the whole hour. And then after that, so that's 3 hours or more. And then I have to load it to YouTube. Now, I don't have very good internet, so therefore it takes about 3-4 hours, sometimes more. I mean, an hour-long video. That's why I can't do it at high-quality HD quality. Now, a lot of you complained about sometimes I'll be in a nature setting or whatever, and you can't see the leaves. It's a little blurry. It doesn't go over 280. And that's because the only way I can even load it is to load it at a lower quality. And but anyway, so it takes hours to load, and I'm actually literally having to going out and checking the load all the time because it'll get stuck because I have such poor internet that sometimes it'll get stuck at 20% and it won't load anymore, and I have to trick it somehow and tell it that, turn off the data on my phone and turn it back on. And I don't know what that does, but anyway, it's a process that takes hours. So, and then there's the meditation and thought, the thoughts that I think. I need some peace and quiet in order to contemplate and ask God questions, and then wait for His Holy Spirit to answer me in inspiration and thoughts that come to mind and so forth. This takes peace and quiet and solitude, and so I can't really go out and go into the modern world and take up a job and get all caught up in the wheels of this system. I wouldn't be able to do these videos. At least it would certainly affect the quality of the videos to the point where you might get 1 or 2 videos a week and they wouldn't be as good a quality or whatever. So this is why I'm doing it. And it does sadden me a little bit when I see, and I know, and I understand, friends, that a lot of the people that making these comments that I'm just tired, I don't want to sit here and wait and get to the point and you're stupid and all that. It doesn't bother me too much, but I notice, because I realize that for every person that makes a comment like there's several others that will say, thank you, David. Thank you for this video. Thank you for your time. And it encourages me so much. So I'm not complaining. I'm trying not to. I shouldn't complain. If I am, I'm sorry for that. But maybe I'm more or less just describing what's going on here. That I find some of the comments to sadden me a little bit because they don't understand what I'm trying to do. And it's hard for me to understand how they think that they could do better. Perhaps they could, but if they could, they ought to do it. Because I'm just trying to get to the bottom of a few things. And the only way you can do that, in my opinion, is to spend some quality time. We talked about yesterday how you can talk to God. And I know this is true. You can literally commune through the Holy Spirit with God. But the only way is you've got to be quiet. And you find that still small voice. The clatter and the clutter and the clanging of the system and the busyness and the stress that you're going to find in the world is not conducive to talking to God and getting the answers. The chemicals, processed food. Now, trust me, I still drink coffee and do things that I shouldn't do and eat things I shouldn't eat. We're in a world where we're not in a perfect world, but the less of that you can do, the more your opioid receptors are working and your euphoria level and your chakras are clean and you're in a place where you can receive answers. You know, I have asked my Father in heaven many times, how can I receive all of the answers that I want and that I need? Not so much even my own self as much as there's so many people around me that I see. I think back on my dear mother who passed away over 20 years ago, and I wish I'd have known then what I know now. But so many people say to me, David, I'm sad. I don't know if I can go on anymore. I don't understand this world. And I'm mad at God. How could he let this happen? I don't want to get into any specific cases that I've talked to people about or anything, or even allude to anybody that's having these problems or anything. But in general, there are people who have family members that are sick or dying. And they just don't understand why the world is the way it is. And let's face it, it's hard to understand. And it's such a vast deception that we live in. And it's easy to want to blame God for everything because really he's in charge, right? So, and this is his world, isn't that true? Well, there's so many lies, there's so many misconceptions. I mean, we've covered so many of them. This is why I want to do these videos, because I want not only to understand it myself, but I want to be able to give you guys a testimony. I want to be able to share with you what I've learned, because I know not everyone out there can go out and get this, right away. Maybe you're in a position where you're not able to do this. And you have questions. Maybe you're not, you're still in the world. You'd like to get out of the world, but you don't even know if it's possible. And it's like a little child wandering around in the street. We're all little children. We've got to come to the Lord like a child. And that's the thing. The whole world's just waiting for God. Like little children, we're all wandering around crying with our noses running, and we're scared, and we don't know where mommy is. And of course we're crying, and of course we're hysterical, and of course we're confused. We don't know what's going on. Somebody's taking our family from us. Somebody's trying to scare us, and bad people are running around, and we don't know what to do. The darkness is scary, and we need answers. And so I feel like it's important that for all of us, let's stop. We've been asking these questions, trying to figure out the universe for so long. It's time that we all say, whoa. enough. I'm getting off this merry-go-round. I'm going to sit right down here. I remember I was about, probably 9 or 8 or 10, or I don't know. I was a little boy. I could have been 7. I don't remember. I was just a little boy, and was hunting with my dad and mom. We were walking through the forest out in the middle of nowhere. We'd walked a long time, and I was really tired. I was just exhausted, and I didn't want to go on anymore. And I remember I sat down in some leaves out in the trees, and I told Mom and Dad, I says, I'm just going to sit here and wait till Armageddon, because I can't make it. And Mom and Dad laughed, and they stopped and rested, and we all rested up, and then I had the strength to go on. But I felt like, I just couldn't walk anymore, and that was just too much. But the encouragement, my father and mother encouraged me, and after I rested up a little bit, I made it home. Thank goodness I had them, that encouragement and their love at that time. But, and it's a small thing, but it's just a little illustration. But we all feel like that. We all feel like we just can't go on anymore sometimes. But sometimes we just have to sit down and get some equilibrium and figure out what's going on before we go any further. And there's some things that we got to come to grips with. And I don't think that for most people that are stuck in the world, they're going to be able to figure their way out of this maze without sometimes their neighbor giving them a little help. Or, we have to help each other. So, my case, I've done this for a long time, and I've done a lot of thought-provoking study, research in my heart, my mind, mostly just prayer, fasting, quiet meditation. And I have found the Lord answers every one of your prayers. But what I found is that when I was younger, and I wasn't getting I would pray, let's say, example, I would say, Lord, give me a red car, a shiny red car. Man, I really would like to have a red car. It's just so, I feel neglected. I don't feel, it's not fair. Everybody else has a nice home and a car. They're all happy. And I don't have anything, and please let me have, I want to be happy. Well, what I was praying for was on the surface, maybe something like a red car or something. And I didn't get that red car. And I wondered why. As time went on, I began to realize that underneath, within myself, from the time I was very little, my constant prayer, the Bible says we must pray continually in an undertone, day and night. In an undertone, what I was really praying for was, God, help me. Give me light. Give me truth. And I remember some little sayings that I wasn't even aware of it, but I said these little things to myself sometimes, like, I'll find the truth no matter what. I just don't understand. I need to know. That kind of thing. That was my real prayer, which was actually contradicting this little quick prayer I had out in the middle of one day I decided I wanted a red car, See, the Lord knew what I was praying for. He knew I didn't really want a red car. What I was really praying for was, Lord, why am I not happy? Maybe I'd be happy if I had a red car. Well, a few times He gave me the red car and I still wasn't happy. Because that undercurrent, my constant prayer, and I know it's that way with most of you, it wasn't for the red car or the fancy house or the whatever, piles of cash. Deep within us, we're trying to find peace, lasting security, and happiness. That's our prayer. And that's what our Father is faithful in order to give us. Let him ask of God, give it to all men liberally. He does. He gives you your prayer. The problem is, the pain that you're feeling is the feeling of the dross being taken away. What you want to be is the pure gold. Right now, you're just a lump of coal. Remember the song? You're just a lump of rock. You've got all this dross. You've got all this selfishness. You just don't want to go on anymore. You're tired. And you don't understand. You know, I know there are people that want to be happy, but they're so unhappy, they're so depressed, they believe there's something wrong with them. And they don't even know that the Twinkies that they're eating, the whiskey that they're drinking, the smoking that they're doing is literally making them obese, sick, diabetes, and they're in such pain. They've got all of this weight of sin upon them, and they don't realize that the power to be free is always there with them. The pain that they're feeling is a blessing, because if you didn't have any pain, you just keep doing all these bad things that you're doing. And you're going in the wrong direction, because your prayer, what you're praying to God from your innermost being is, Lord, help me. He's trying to help you. He's giving you a little pain, not so much, that you can't bear it. Although the weight of it gets to a place where you feel like you can't bear it anymore. But you see, it's when you get to the bottom that you finally say, okay, Lord, I get it. I don't want the red car anymore. I don't want the cash. I just want you. I just want peace, and not just for me, but for my children. And it's when people get to the bottom and they finally get to the place where they realize what their prayer is, when they realize who God is, what he's trying to do for them, trying to wean them off of their pacifier. He's trying to get you what you're really asking for. If you didn't want to go through all of this trouble, you should never have asked my Father in heaven, or your Father in heaven, to be free. Because you asked for it. That's what your deep desire was, to get to the top of the mountain. But, going up the mountain is tough. But that's your goal. So I found out that most of the things that are in this world are just pains and pricks and troubles and woes that you don't need. And when you free yourself from all these shackles, let's say that I gave this illustration to somebody the other day. I think it's a good one. Let's say you're in a room and there's 1,000 M&Ms or little red pills all over the floor. Each one of these little red pills, if you took it and put it in your mouth and swallowed it, was like ecstasy. And it would give you the most amazing euphoria that you could ever imagine. But you were told, now, if you put one of those pills in your mouth and you take it, it's going to take away a year of your life. So there's 100 pills. So you say, well, I don't want to lose a year of my life in one day. But, so I'll avoid these pills. Well, then one day you're just not happy, and, you're going through a moment, and you think, you know what, one pill is not going to hurt. I want to see what this is like. I want to feel ecstasy. I want to feel euphoria. So you pick up the little pill and you put it in your mouth. And boy, everything is totally different, and the world looks different. Now you love everything. You're happy. You're euphoric, and wow, you're just so, it's just awesome. And it was only 1 year of your life that you lost for that. So it was really almost worth it. But you say, okay, I've done that 5 times now. It was great, but I lost 5 years, right? And I can't do this anymore. So you try to stop. Now you're going to go through withdrawals. That feeling of euphoria was so amazing. Oh my goodness. You just can't live without it. So you do another pill and you do another, and pretty soon you've ate all the pills. There's 100 pills. The last one's there in your hand. And you know that you only have 1 year left to live. And if you take that pill, you'll die immediately. But at least you're going to get to feel the euphoria. That's kind of like what it is. Only we're talking not about these pills. Put it in perspective, it's really like a Twinkie. So, well, these Twinkies, if I eat one Twinkie, it's not going to hurt me. Right? It's just a Twinkie. A little sugar. It's one cigarette. I've been addicted for a long time. I'm just going to take another cigarette. Right? I ain't got time right now to, Lord, just help me. I just want to be free. I just want to be happy. And I'm so depressed, I just can't go on anymore. I'm just going to sit here and eat Twinkies and smoke cigarettes. Or think negative thoughts or because it's no point. And every time you take a puff of cigarette, you take a little off your life, and every Twinkie. And as you do, you get more heavy and more weight, and finally you've gained 100 pounds, and you're sitting in your house, and you got diabetes, and you're blaming God. You can even rightfully blame the world for putting all these Twinkies out there and advertising. Coca-Cola, it's the real thing. Oh, come and get it, And they ought to be ashamed of themselves. But it said right on the pharmaceutical package, if you take this pill, it could cause cancer, it could cause diarrhea, headaches, cramping, all these side effects. And you knew about the side effects. But of course, there was a happy smile on the face of the package. And the little dog running through the flowers. And they say, oh, it's the real thing. Take it, and whatever. Fine print. It's going to kill you. And you chose to take that little euphoric moment or whatever it was, took the pill, and you realize it's killing you. After a while, you can't quit. You don't feel there's any way you can make it back. You just want to sit down and wait for Armageddon because you don't think you can make it. And I'm telling you, friends, there is a way to make it, and you can be happy without the pill. We talked about that yesterday. The pills give you happiness, but it's unnatural. And then afterwards, you go through the withdrawals. A lot of you are going through the withdrawals right now, whether it's from medicine or from cigarettes or bad living or just whatever, life. Because you weren't living the right life for a while. And now you're paying the consequences. And thank goodness for the pain, or else you would have done it worse than what you did. It's like saying, don't do this. My child, I love you. It's like a little bit of discipline. There's no punitive punishment in this world. And if you are going to make a company and advertise to children to smoke cigarettes or to whatever, then you're going to pay a very heavy price. I mean, Aleister Crowley died of a heroin overdose, and he was completely suffering, and I'm sure his next life was very bad. He paid the price for what he did. We have free will. Anybody can do anything. You can harm other people, but you will pay the price. And even you will pay the price for taking that Twinkie. You say, well, then that's just not fair. Well, no, it is fair. Look how brilliant this is. We all have free will. And you can take control of your life. And you can overcome the world. Jesus said, look, I have overcome the world. Fear not, little flock. I love you. Come and follow me. Oh, but Jesus, let me go bury my father, and then I'll follow you. Jesus, no, please listen to me. Don't take another Twinkie. It's enough. It will be difficult for you to resist the Twinkie the next day. It will be difficult, but don't say, well, I'm going to go on a diet. I'll just eat one Twinkie a week. You can't do it that way. Twinkies are bad. Don't eat them. Don't eat sugar. Don't drink hard liquor. You can have a glass of wine. That's fermented drink. It could be good for you in moderation. Caffeine's not terrible for you. You can drink a cup of coffee. A lot of natural plants have natural caffeine. Cannabis can be good for you. It can relieve pain and stress, and in moderation, these things are good for us. Because the Bible says the leaves are for the healing of the nations. They were designed, the poppy seeds were put there on earth by our Father in heaven, by our Mother in heaven. They designed it so that if you broke your leg and you were in excruciating pain, until you could heal that leg, sometimes you need opium. And the wise elders, they knew about the different plants and herbs, and they would know what to do. But they've taken that knowledge from us, and they've confiscated all this, and they don't let us, and they make it illegal, and then you have to go to their doctor, and they charge you an exorbitant price, and they lie to you, and they make you sicker. So this is the problem that we're in. But what I'm trying to tell you is that do not be afraid. Even if you're in a situation where you have gained 100 pounds and you are sitting on the couch smoking and drinking, and you're just completely addicted to heroin, or you're, maybe you just got a call from the doctor and they just diagnosed you with cancer. You say, well, that's it, Dave. I'm done. How am I supposed to be happy now? Well, first of all, God is trying to save your life. That's what the cancer is. You had some poison somewhere in your body from things that you were doing, or even natural environmental chemicals, or harmful things that are in the air. Bad air, just smoke, the quality of the air or the water, or it could be radiation from the phone, or it may not even be your fault. But whatever is causing it wasn't God's fault. It was mankind who tried to harm each other. But remember, all things work for good for those who love God. Pray about it, think about it, get your wits about you. Avoid those things. And if you get to a place where you feel like you've gone to a place of no return, and you just don't have the strength, and you just want to sit down and wait for Armageddon or wait for the next life, no, you can do it. And for those of you who know anybody like this, you can give them a little help. Go put your arm around them. Be a good friend and counselor. Show them compassion and love, never judgment. Because some of us, we shouldn't leave anybody behind. There is a way you can. Do you realize that some of these food, like you say, well, I can't give up pizza and all these things is making me overweight, or cigarettes or alcohol, or anything. I can't do this. I've tried. I've been on diets. I don't know how many times, Dave. You don't know how many times I went on a diet. Well, here's how you have to understand this. Imagine if you were on heroin and I told you, well, the heroin's the problem. You got to quit. And you said, what? I can't quit heroin. I understand your problem. And this is a real problem. If you stopped heroin, boom, cold turkey like that, you'd probably go into some sort of withdrawals, and it would be the most difficult thing you've ever done in your life. So remember, it's a medical condition. Maybe you need someone's help. An environment where you can be monitored, and perhaps another herb can be used, or a certain procedure to help you get off of this drug. But it can be done. You got to be serious about it. And then once you get over that hurdle, don't ever do it again. But when you're talking about food, McDonald's or pizzas or whatever, and you say, well, I know I can't quit and everything. Here's what you have to do. To understand that pizza, that sugar, those Twinkies, they're just like being addicted to heroin. It's a serious thing. You have to stop altogether. Now, it's not that hard, because you hear what happens. And you're not seeing this. You want the heroin because you're addicted to it. But you know that you wouldn't be addicted to it if you could stop for a period of time and get it out of your system, detox. And then all of a sudden the desire for the heroin would be gone. It takes time. No, it's not true that you just crave pizza. You don't know why. Well, I just don't understand. Some people can do it and I can't. I just have this terrible craving. No, that person's not addicted to heroin. They don't have that craving for heroin. Something happened. Something went wrong. Now we got to get serious. May need some help from your friends or doctor. Or I should say a healer. But you can do it. And as long as you understand that as soon as you stop eating sugar or white flour for a period of time, it could be, once you detox, it could be several weeks or even several months, you'll no longer have a craving for sugar. I know people that drink Diet Cokes or regular Cokes or whatever. I haven't had a Coke in I don't know how many years. I don't crave them. I haven't had one, but if I started drinking Cokes, I would probably want them. I would develop a craving for them. So, see, imagine the desire you have for the Twinkie or the Coke or the cigarette is only temporary. Understand that you just got to get over this hurdle. It's a little hard, but when you put your mind to it and you say, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop eating Twinkies from today onward. And I realize that for the next few days or even maybe weeks, I'm going to have a craving for Twinkies. But I can get through it. And when I do, I'll no longer crave them. And I'll be able to live again. I'll be in control and I'll be free. What happens is, this is what you don't know, is that once you've got all these toxins out of your body, you begin to function normally. And your natural endorphins and your dopamine and your serotonin begin to flow properly. And then you go outside. This happens to me all the time. I go out in nature. It happens almost every day. And I see a flower and I go, oh my God, it's so beautiful. My daughter thinks I'm crazy. I'm like, Dad, they're just trees. I'm like, that's not trees. Oh, I like this tree. Oh, that's a beautiful tree. Oh, look at this pond. And she's like, it's a pond, Dad. What are you talking about? I see trees every day. You're all excited about trees. Well, it gives me a lot of joy. I just can't help it. And there's nothing special about me. But nature gives me a high. Exercise. People talk about a euphoria when they go and they run. They run a mile. Now, you and I would look at them and say, oh, run a mile? My goodness, I ain't getting out of, run a mile. I can't do that. I'd be out of breath in about 5 seconds. Well, they build up to that. And it releases endorphins. And they get a euphoric feeling. What it really is life. People are naturally happy when they go and they run and they play. You ever see children? They're just little children and they wake up, they jump out of bed, man. They don't need nobody to tell them. They hit that door, boom. They go out there and they hit the grass and they're running and playing. Where do they get to the energy? They're laughing over silly little things. Oh, look at the little top going around and around. Look at the dog. Oh, and playing with the dog. They're laughing and giggling and playing over silly things. They've got plenty of natural endorphins and plenty of dopamine and plenty of their bodies working, functioning. It's to the point today where there's little children that no longer want to go outside and play. They're overweight, sitting on the couch playing video games. We're destroying our children even. We got to get control of this now. I know it's gone too far, and I understand, I sympathize, but it's time to stop and get back to the path of life. Remember, when you get back on the right path, you'll feel it all over again, just like you did when you were little. You will be happy again. You will be free. Imagine the joy you will have if you are 100 pounds overweight or more, and you imagine your mind being young and thin and full of energy and running around, being beautiful. What you think in your mind is beautiful and just feeling good about yourself. You say, well, I could never achieve that again, David. Yes, you can. Stop with the negative thinking. The negative thinking, I know it's hard, it's overwhelming, but it's not coming from you. It's coming from the poison that's in you. It's that negative weight that burdening you. It's burdening your thoughts. It's making you sad. It's demons. Really, it's negative thoughts. It's making you sick. You need hope based on facts and truth, but you don't get a lot of that today. You read an article and they say, oh, just take a diet or whatever, and you tried that, doesn't work. Oh, we're going to do the keto diet. We're going to do this diet or the whatever. You got Marie Osmond coming on every day, oh, I lost the 50 pounds, right? Oh, really? That's good. I'm glad she's encouraging people to live a better life. But of course she's getting paid to do that, and they're selling something. But I am just trying to tell you, friends, that it is not true, the lies you're being told, not only about the lies you're being told in the world and from the world, but the lies that seem to be coming from your own self. Like, you just look at the world, you're no longer happy. You don't feel that there's any meaning to life anymore. And some of you think, well, there's no point in living anymore. I don't mean you're going to go out and kill yourself or anything. I'm just saying maybe you're just not happy and you don't think you ever will be again. There's just no hope. Maybe you're just going to sit on the couch until you die. And that's it. That's your future. That's your hopes. And that's all you got. You can just hope that when you die, you'll go to heaven or something, or paradise one day. And you're worried about your children, but your family and so forth. And you've just given up. Well, I'm here to tell you that that's all a lie. You can be happy. And your natural state is happy. Joy is something that is who you are. You're a spiritual being, not the flesh. Remember this. The Bible says the flesh is weak, but the spirit is eager. Now that doesn't mean that you're weak, but everybody, the good people are eager. What does that mean? It means that you have a spiritual Christ within you, the hope of glory. The inner man. Paul says, my flesh is dying from day into day. But that inner person, the inner man, the inner spiritual person is getting stronger from day into day. We're just babes in Christ. So you do have that spiritual person that is eager. Like that little child, bam, hits the door and they're running and they're playing and they're happy. That's in you. The problem is the flesh, everybody's flesh, not just yours, but everybody else, they all have the flesh, and it's weak. If you let it take control, you're going to feel as though that's who you are. But that is not you. And the works of the flesh is anxiety and debates and strife and envy and all of these things and drunken bouts. And this is the flesh. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, joy. You want joy? Mildness and goodness and kindness and gentleness and self-control. You say, well, I haven't got any control, Dave. Yes, you do. You do. Your flesh doesn't, but your spirit is eager. Your spirit has control. But you can't remember when you were happy. You don't have connection with God anymore. You can't hear him when he talks to you anymore. The pain has gotten so darn bad, it's distracting you. The flesh has gotten overpowering. And you just don't think you can make it home. But I made it home when I was a little boy with a little help from my mom and dad, and you can make it home. And it's not going to be the rest of your eternity. You're going to be trudging along and I'm unhappy and I don't understand. I don't like life. No, that's just your flesh. You're being mesmerized. You're being lied to. The flesh is weak. The ego, the God of this world, and all the laws and all the, the guilt and all the pain and the judgment, it's lying to you. It does not have control. It's weak. All you got to do, heroin may be powerful, but it's not more powerful than you are. Greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. That's a fact. Get familiar with these axioms of truth. The one that is in you is greater. The spiritual being within you is much greater than he that is in the world or the outer or the carnal or the flesh. And that's a fact, and it's a truth. And it may not be demonstratable for you today, but it can be demonstrated. The apostles said that they wanted to demonstrate the dunamis of the Spirit with powerful works. They did it. They demonstrated it. When you hear the Spirit, it's not a voice that comes from the carnal world. It's not the voice of hate and jealousy and anger and depression and giving up. It's another voice, and you've got to listen carefully for that voice, because that voice is in you. I promise you, it is there. And once you hear it, it'll give you hope. And if you follow it, that's God. He has never left you. You just, you're down there in the darkest dungeon, in the deepest despair, and you finally get on your knees and you cry out. Well, he's heard you way before that. He's been waiting for you, because he's got the rope and he's lowered it down there. He's been waiting and waiting for you to grab onto the rope. He's been telling you, come and follow me. I love you. I stand at the door and I knock. This is not going to be hard. I'm going to be with you all the way. I won't give up on you. My Father has them in his grasp, and he will not let them go, he says. I go unto the way, my way to the Father. You know the way. Thomas says, Lord, we don't know the way. I'm lost. I can't understand. If I don't see it with my own eyes, my physical, my carnal, I don't grasp it with my carnal. Jesus said, yes, you do know the way. I'm going to send you the Holy Spirit. It's inside you. Don't listen to the carnal. Don't listen to any man. Do like Elijah and climb the mountain. You're not going to hear God in all the commotion and the thunder and the lightning and the storm and the fire and all this goings on. Don't let it distract you. Don't let the pain or the troubles or the situation distract you at all. It's a lie. Don't let that water fool you. You can walk right over it. Don't say, oh, that mountain's in my way. No, it's not. Get thee behind me, Satan. I don't want to believe in you. I'm not going to believe. You're a liar. Why do you think Jesus said your father's a liar? Because they were accusing everybody. They were saying, oh, you're going to die. You need to die. You got to be punished. You're not good. You're a bad person. You're not worthy. Jesus said, you liar. Don't you dare talk to my children like that. It's not true. Because ye are God's. Now come and follow me. Paul says, follow me as I follow Christ. We need more people. We can have a good example. It's not our Father in heaven's fault that there's so many other entities and beings around us that just are little children. Some of us grown-ups have got to do something and grab their hand and show them the way. You can be a light shower. You can be the way giver. Others will follow you as you follow the inner spiritual Christ. But do everything for the prize. You got to get the prize, which is life, happiness, joy. Seek the truth. Jesus says, I am the way, I am the truth, and I am the life. No man cometh to the Father except through me. You cannot go up any other way. No man has ever come before me. No one has the way. They were all thieves and robbers. What is he talking about? The only way is the Christ. The laws, the philosophies, everything that's ever come into this world has all been a lie. The only way out of this world and up and out is the truth. You got to be an adult. You got to be sober. Let us be sober. No, it doesn't mean that you can't ever have a glass of wine. He's talking about don't be drunk on this world. Don't lose your mind and let the world sort of cloud your mind so that you don't think straight anymore. You're not thinking straight when you're sitting on the couch thinking you got no more hope and you can't go on. Yes, you can. I guarantee it. Because Jesus loves you. Your Father in heaven and your mother in heaven loves you. Your mother cries out in the streets. It says in Proverbs 8, she's in the pathway along the country trails. She's in the streets, on the housetops. She's crying out, listen to my wisdom, my son, my child. She's constantly crying out and beckoning and saying, come, follow the truth. Don't lose sight of the truth. Put your eyes on the prize. And it isn't so hard. Once you realize it's not that hard, once you realize it, that's a lie, what you've been listening to, what you've been believing. You can stop eating for a period of time. It's not that hard. After a few days, you don't even miss it no more. The craving goes away. You can stop drinking. It just takes a little bit of time to get over the addiction. It's so much worth it. Because you will begin to feel again. You will begin to live again. And then next time, you will have overcome it. You won't go back to it. You'll have eternal life. Because you'll know what life is. There's always this, we have second chances. Our Father loves us. He's not going to let us down. He's going to be with us, and we're going to make it. Just pray. And if you feel like you just can't make it, you just think it's just too much, trust me. I know you can do this. Trust me on this. You go to bed tonight, or you don't have to go to bed. You can just go someplace quiet. Preferably just go somewhere quiet in the nature or the woods or something. Or in your dark bedroom with the lights off and the curtains pulled down, and just meditate and pray under your breath or out loud, however you feel is good for you. And cry out from the bottom of your heart. And don't stop after 5 minutes and 10 minutes or 20 minutes or a day. If 24 hours goes by and you're still praying and crying and you haven't found any answers and you haven't felt anything good out of that, then just keep doing it. Be determined. Be determined. I'm telling you. Go stand in a field somewhere and say, I'm going to stand here until I get an answer. You'll get an answer. The problem is you could go out and you can do something like that and you can feel like, man, hallelujah, I got an answer. And you can go tell everybody, and then next week get caught back up into it again. This is a long, ongoing thing. Our prayers must be continual. We got to remember it and not lose sight of the truth and not lose hope. But it needs to be a regular thing that we do. We need to find time to pray and to be very sincere and willing To let go of the things that we don't need so that we can acquire the things that we do. Because the things that we're hanging on to that we don't need is what's causing us to not have the things we really want. So, anyway, I'm going to go ahead and go, friends. And I hope I didn't mean, friends, to offend anyone by any of the things that I said. I hope I didn't come off that way. I love you all. And if any of you want to message me, if you have a question, I am willing to talk with you and do whatever I can. I'm sure there's many other people out there that will help you. It is not that, well, yes, it is hard, but we can do it. And I promise you we can do it. And together we will. We're going to overcome the situation that we're in. We're going to learn from it, and we're going to do some amazing things. So anyway, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.